The following opinions are solely those of BoatTEST.com and its test captain.
Hi, Captain Steve for BoatTEST.com, and today I'm on the newest flagship from the Maritimo Yachts Yard, the M65. Now, the design team tell me that they made this to be a capable blue water cruiser with more range, but still within the realm of the owner-operator's capabilities. Let's see how they've done as I take it on a full sea trial. The engine room is accessed from a hatch in the cockpit deck. Let's take a look.
We're immediately greeted with a pair of Cat C18s with plenty of room in between for accessing the service points. To the forward bulkhead are the engine and generator fuel filters, and crossovers allow changes on the fly. To the stern are a pair of 21.5 kW generators with battery banks underneath. And the compartment is well ventilated thanks to these large vent fans, leading to exterior outlets well protected from salt spray by the outer bulwarks.
I appreciate the safety factor of 28-inch cockpit depth. Now, this is a blue water capable cruising boat, and that means we need a lot of storage. Maritimo provides it with this lazarette that holds a ton of stuff. Let's take a look. Well, clearly there's plenty of storage room in this lazarette, and we also have the receivers for the Glendinning cord reels, and notice just ahead, the white boxes are for the ISO-boost system to protect the electrical system from spikes. Well, we've got easy access to the steering gear, that's for sure. 2 hydraulic rams plus a tie bar connecting the two together. There are rudder stops, so in the event of failure, the rudder doesn't swing around and hit the propellers. And we also have the indicator leading up to the autopilot. Now, this boat's also equipped with a Seakeeper gyro stabilizer, so let's hope we get some waves on our test. If not, we'll create our own and test its capabilities. Notice just above, there's a shelf for storing fenders, lines, things like that. There's an easier access point for that. Let's take a look.
A push of a button lifts the electric hatch in the cockpit deck, making it much easier to toss items in.
Now, I also appreciate Maritimo's thoughtful touch of adding this section underneath the hatch. Great for putting in lines or covers. Well, any conversation about this home has to start with these luxurious helm seats, Pomponette Yacht Series seats, upholstered in ultra leather. They're fully adjustable fore and aft, up and down, and they have flip-up armrests and flip-down footrests. Now let's take a look at some of the helm features. On the panel, we have 3 19-inch displays. Just below, the autopilot, the control for the Seakeeper gyro stabilizer, and then just below that, the Cat display screen. Over to the right-hand side, we have the controls for the bow and stern thruster, and the joystick that links both the thrusters with the main engines. Here we have the digital engine controls, the trim tabs, and the control for the 3 19-inch displays. There's another joystick station in the cockpit, making short work of backing into a slip. Stainless cleats are 12 inches and they blend in nicely with the rails. There are 5 to each side of the boat. Well, coming up the side decks, same width to each side, 15 inches, bevels out to 18 inches. And when I reach about midships at this cleat right here, an unprecedented, in my opinion, 3 feet, 7 inches of safety, which to me pretty much eliminates the need for putting a rail on the side of the cabin. As I step up, the rail height drops to 3 feet, still much safer than what we've seen on other builders. That 3 feet rail height continues all the way up to the working end of the bow, where we have a Muir windlass leading out to an anchor roller embedded into the bow. There is a chain stopper to take the load off of the windlass when the anchor is deployed. Full control switches are to the right-hand side, and we have storage to the left-hand side, to the right-hand side, access to the all-chain road.
And notice just up ahead, we have a raw water washdown.
The entire foredeck is treated with non-skid, and while we do have the option of launching a tender from the swim platform, some may use that for a PWC, saving this foredeck for launching a rib. There's a space over on the side here for mounting a crane. Just inside the main entrance in the cabinet here, we have a power panel, 120 on top, 24 volt at the bottom, battery switches all over to the left-hand side. All of the wiring is cleverly hidden, but still remains easy to get to for servicing. Now, here's an interesting feature. I come down below and into the guest stateroom. Looking underneath the berth, there's plenty of storage, but more importantly, to the side of this storage compartment, there's access to the bilge that goes all the way forward. Let's take a look. Now, this compartment gives me access all the way forward to the collision bulkhead, the hydraulic bow thruster, the open bilge area with 2 bilge pumps, a hot water heater, and the 2 water tanks.
Now let's get her underway and see how she does. With the twin 1150 horsepower Cat C18 Acerts powering our test boat, we reached a top speed of 27.7 knots at 2326 RPM. That produced a fuel burn of 117.3 gallons per hour and a range of 353.8 nautical miles. Now, that was only at 90% load on the engine. This boat wasn't through with its setup process, as the owner hadn't loaded it with its tender, additional deck gear, and other items, nor was it tuned with the final running gear for that load. So, the final version should be better than this for top speed. That said, we reached our best economic cruise at 1750 RPM and 19.2 knots. That speed brought the fuel burn down to 62.2 gallons per hour and the range up to almost 462 nautical miles, all while still holding back a 10% reserve of fuel in the bank. As for her handling, she's a remarkably comfortable boat, and since she's shaft-driven, she responds much better to turns than, say, a pod-driven boat. 4.5 turns from lock to lock bring her around smartly with a 5-degree roll into the turns. With an 18-foot 6-inch beam, there's no feeling of carrying a lot of weight with her enclosed flybridge, but her 78,800-pound test weight definitely translates into a solid feel as we transition across the wakes of the camera boat. With minimal time on this boat, there wasn't so much as a creak or rattle to be heard anywhere as we put her through our heavy-handed maneuvers. And the Seakeeper kept the roll in check from 5 to 7 degrees to nearly 0. We also appreciate the safety factor of 6 feet of freeboard aft and 9 feet at the bow. Of course, when coming back to the dock, maneuvering was easy with the Zenta joystick that combines both the bow and stern thruster along with the main drives to allow for full maneuverability, and yes, even sideways if desired. Just slight pulses is all it takes, and there's also about a second or so lag time to the boat's response. I don't consider this a downside, but will instead keep things more sedate when under the command of a heavy-handed captain. Slow and steady is the goal of any docking, and this tends to force that issue. In short, this is a boat that can be easily handled by anyone that can move a joystick.
Well, in my opinion, the M65 represents a great cruising yacht with good capabilities and certainly within the realm of any owner-operator. And that's my full sea trial and performance evaluation of the M65 from Maritimo Yachts. For BoatTEST.com, I'm Captain Steve. We'll see you on the water.